Hey, so right now I'll be watching Tonari no Yokai-san, episode 1. And this is an anime series that I barely just found out about via the Crunchyroll page on YouTube this past Thursday. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, this has to be the year of mythological anime for me. Because the first trailer that I saw from Crunchyroll on that day was The Raven Doesn't Choose Its Master, or also known as The Crow Doesn't Choose Its Lord. And when I saw that one, I was enthralled by it. I was like, it looks amazing. People who can turn into either ravens or crows, depending on the translation. And it has a lot of mythology in that. And right after I saw the trailer for that one, I saw this one and I was like, this has to be a sign that this just might be the year where I finally continue my main channel. Because it's been about 2 years now since I haven't uploaded anything on that channel. Since I didn't really feel a whole lot of motivation to continue it for a while. Especially since I started doing this channel and I got more into this one. And that channel kind of went to the side. But I'm hoping that maybe because there are these two animes that have to do with mythology, they might just get me back into also uploading on my main channel. Immediately when I saw the trailer for this one, it reminded me of so many different kinds of animes. It reminded me of Tonya. It reminded me of Kemono Jihen because of the Nekomata. It also reminded me of the anime series Midnight Occult Civil Servants, also because of the Nekomata. And the fact that seemingly in that series, seeing yokai or ayakashi isn't necessarily strange to a lot of them because they're in the field itself, where they just see a whole bunch of yokai and ayakashi. I've heard people compare it to having Natsumi's Book of Friends kind of vibe to it, which I understand as well because the main character Natsumi can see these creatures and for quite a few of them it's just very normal and typical, it's nothing strange. It also gave off a very much Ghibli kind of vibe because it looks very calm, very slice of life. I want to say it's also giving Mushishi, but I've never seen that series. I do plan to watch it, but I've never seen it, so it's also giving that. It also kind of reminds me of Odd Taxi. Since although similarly, I haven't seen that one, but it just gives me the vibe as well. And maybe also because of that yokai with the yellow car in its head. Just looking at the poster itself right now, it does look like it's very much slice of life. It looks very nice actually. I'm very excited to see it. It looks very cute. And also just the fact that they have these beast kind all around them, it reminds me of Beastars and Beast Complex. And also the show, BoJack Horseman. Since in that series, the anthro-like creatures aren't seen as weird, they're pretty much considered to be a normal part of society. So when you happen to see one walking down the street, you don't think, oh, that's something that's different. To them, it's just normal. Just like either in this world, or maybe it's just this town specifically, it's not unusual to see these kind of creatures. They're just walking around and they're considered to be normal. They're not considered to be the outcast. Or at the very least, that's the vibe that I got from the trailer. Especially since that when they found out that a cat was turning into a Nekomata, the kids didn't react in fear or disgust. They reacted in excitement and they wanted to go see the cat. So that's also why it gave me the vibe of like, okay, this is more of like a casual, nice series. It's not the typical fearful human type of series. And also thinking of it like that, it also reminds me of gargoyles, since depending on where these specific gargoyles live, they can live peacefully with humans and it's not strange at all to see them around. They're just treated as any other person. And I guess also in a sense, it's also similar to Seton Academy, since basically they live in a world where it's integrated. And granted, there aren't that many humans around, they still go to a school where there's at least 2 humans in there, where the other remaining ones are all based on animals. They're not really seen as different, they just treat each other as normal high school students. So that's also another one that's similar. And also just going based off the trailer that it said there might be a time limit since the gate is closing. It reminded me of that one movie, where it's basically about this young girl who she happens to meet the spirit of the forest, and as the years go by, and as she ends up getting older, she doesn't realize that her time is limited with this yokai. Since if a human were ever to touch him, he would disappear. But in that sense, she wasn't really fully aware of the fact that her time with him was limited. She just made the most of their time together. Now having said all that, on to the episode. If I remember correctly, having a Nekomata means that the cat has died. Oh, that's cool. Oh, he talks! Eren? He became a cat. Oh, he's so cute! He looks so adorable. That doesn't mean you have to be. Aww. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Like, at least he's not gonna leave that after he dies. Aww. Damn, this family's so understanding. Aww. Aw, brother.
猫また見てき組のとこのブチを。そうか。今日の T シャツかっこよくない？お、わかる。着てるもん。やだな。褒めても何出るわ。
Wouldn't that melt though? Well, it depends how long he's been waiting there. It's like an older brother. Well, I guess that's one way to put it. Told him to walk home. But he's also covered in feathers or fur. That must mean that he could overheat himself faster than humans can. To keep the ice cream cold? Ooh, change of animation.
やがてそこに怪しが生まれたそうです。神様から命を授け、人の心やその言霊から生まれたものと共に生きるようになり、
Cool.
神様になった後も人の隣にあり続け、そして今ここはとある山あいの風がよく吹く町。縁が
Ooh, an opening song already. This really does give wholesome vibes. Also, this would be a very good summer anime. And I'm glad it came out now, but it also gives very much summer vibes. What? Is that a car, Yokai? Oh, that's the one I saw in that one picture. I like that one. It would have been nice if Candy could have been like the dog equivalent of a Nekomata. Oh, look at that. Two different kinds of Tengu, I guess. This feels like it could be its own movie. Oh, and there's even a registry. Oh, the health insurance is a yokai. Aww. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, I want one of those. They're so considerate of what he wants as well. Is there a difference between those two? Because they're both Tengu, but they look different. That's the old man he was referring to? He seems pretty used to it by now. Damn, 20? Damn, he's like, you're still young by yokai standards. So did he somehow forget most of his life as a regular cat? Was Jiro also a regular crow before? And Tansenbo was a regular man before he became a Tengu, or...? Oh... The fact that you can see that, though. I'm blind as hell. I probably wouldn't be able to see that. I'd be like, oh, it's just my imagination. Oh, I thought they lived together. Then again, it makes sense that he lives with other Tengu, or yokai, and she lives with her human family. Hinari's a goddess, though, or god. Oh. Oh, that's cool. Well, the dance is only a small part of it, isn't it? Wouldn't you be able to enjoy it either before or after? Oh, who passed away? Oh, it's just a tiny deity shrine. So can she not see the small deity? Reminds me of Kaminari month. Oh, his little hat that makes him look like Luffy. He looks like a girl. Ooh. So cool they have those classes there.
よかった。
That is true, there must be more Nekomatas. Is she one of them? Maybe? Considering the eyes?
なんとかなるんじゃない。じゃあ引き受けてくれる。ジローと多全部。すいません。言ってな。サプライズ。
They're gonna live here now.
またの能力として。
I knew it! I knew she was one of them! Oh, she gonna be pretty? That's a dude? Oh, okay, never mind. Oh, she's a kitsune! Okay, that's different. Was not expecting that. Although she is pretty though. Oh, he's so amazed. I love it. Oh. The dog. How come the dog isn't like a yokai? Or maybe he will become one. Taro. Oh. Mystical horse. What? Is Grandpa dead? Yeah, it sounds like it. Oh wow! Wait, I've seen those! Animal Crossing. Wow. Grandpa is dead. Okay. It's just normal to them? Oh, the eggplant. Okay. Does the eggplant eat cucumber then? Oh, her dad's dead. I guess not everybody makes it back. This series also reminds me of Brand New Animal. Oh, that is true. Huh. Oh, okay. Oh. Oh, so she was born as a yokai. He became one. Valid question. She can transform it for him? Now his is turn it back into his regular yokai hand. Well, he did change it back. That should count for something, no? Oh, so he is afraid of her. Well, it is all new to him. I just know this series is gonna be slept on. Oh, okay, that looks weird, but at least he finally did it. His face. And both hands, too. Why does she always stay transformed, though? Why not just stay as she is? Something serious? Well, I guess there's more going on than we've seen. Could it be maybe her mom is trying to date someone or something? Him? Oh, the dad! Oh shit. How long do they live though? She can see it?
これが俺の本質だし、何マヨで食べる。
Oh, a snake. I don't want to judge it because it's a snake with red eyes, but is it a good snake or a bad snake? Oh, it is so cute. Oh, Haku? So it looks like there's more to this series than meets the eye. Although it does start off as a very sweet slice of life kind of anime. Like we saw in this episode, towards the end, that's where it started getting more and more dark. First with the fact that her dad didn't come home when her grandfather did, and then we find out that it looks like her dad has been spirited away, which most likely means that even though that he's more than likely dead, he won't be able to come back like her grandfather does. And even then, her grandfather isn't completely back, because although they can see him walking around sometimes, like we saw when he touched Moo's shoulder, when she turned around, she couldn't see him. She could hear his voice, but she couldn't see him. Overall, the concept of the anime series is honestly one I've never seen before, and I really like it. I'm curious to know if this is an anime-only concept, or if it comes from a light novel or manga series. Since overall it looks really nice. Now I do see the similarities with all the other animes that I've mentioned before, specifically of Natsumi's Book of Friends, Brand New Animal, How to Keep a Mummy, and a few others. Overall, I really liked this first episode. To me, it had a very good balance of having some sweet moments, having some dark moments, adding to the fact that Moo more or less knows what happened to her father. And the reason why she keeps acting upset is because she doesn't want to accept the fact that he's actually gone. Especially in this kind of town or world where when someone's gone, as you see with both her grandfather and her own cat, they're never really gone. Since most likely, they'll be able to come back every so often. I also did like the concept of the family cat having been 20 years old. He basically died of old age, but was then reborn as a nekomata. To me, that seemed very nice that although he did die, he was able to be reborn as a yokai and still be around his family. And from what we've seen, he has an extremely nice family. Everyone's understanding. His mom, which is of course the human kid's mom, is very sweet and understanding, and she even told him that if he wants to change his name, he can, ultimately giving him the choice of whether to keep his name or not, and he ended up keeping his old name. And the fact that you have to register for not only to keep a record of how many Ayashi are in this town, but also the fact that even though he's dead, he still has to pay for insurance. I was like, he's dead! Why would you need insurance if you're dead? That's also one thing that I really enjoyed from this episode is seeing that, although like how I said, they've had Buchio for over 20 years, and they've had this pet and owner relationship. As soon as he became a nekomata, they made it explicitly clear that what he wanted mattered. When he didn't want that video of himself being turned into a nekomata to be uploaded online, they didn't do it. When his brother asked him if he could use his nekomata form as inspiration for his project, and he said no, he respected his decision. And when his mother offered to help him with the paperwork that he needed to fill out to register, she respected the fact that he wanted to do it on his own. They always made sure that he knew he had autonomy now. Because regardless of the fact that he was their house pet, or in some families they consider them to be like their children as well, the only thing that's changed now is that he can make decisions for himself. They don't make them for him anymore. Because it could be so easy for them to just make the decisions for him and not take his wants into account. But they made it abundantly clear that they care what he thinks and what he wants. And they also encouraged him to make his own decisions. It's also very interesting to note that although Buchio has been with his family for over 20 years and he knows them and everything, he's still unsure himself now as a newly birthed yokai. He is unsure of what he wants to do, he's unsure of how he should act, how he should be. He's very much having a sort of midlife crisis because he doesn't know what he wants. He's excited because everything is new, because although he's still a cat, he's now a yokai cat. But this also brings up a whole lot of other things now. He can be so much more than just a cat now. There's also such a variety of things he can do, he doesn't know what to choose. So it's going to be interesting to see his journey of finding himself and being comfortable with the fact that he's a nekomata, and how he grows as a character after that. Also, given the fact that he's voiced by the same guy who voices Eren from the manga, anime, and video game series Attack on Titan. How Bochio acts right now with being skittish and worried and scared of a lot of things really reminds me of the other character he portrayed before, which is the short, chubby guy whose avatar is a pig from the light novel, manga, anime, and video game series Axel World. Buchio wearing that hat also reminds me of Sophie from House Moving Castle. And the fact that he has to register himself being a newly birthed yokai, it also reminds me of what they have to do in the manga anime series Noragami. Since similarly, they have to register themselves as being whichever god's weapon, and they keep a registry to keep track of them. Another similarity between these two is the fact that neither one thought that there would be anything after their deaths, but yet there was. Yukine's spirit was, by chance, the only one near enough when the lesser god known as Yato needed a new weapon, and so he was called upon for that reason And as a result, he was given a chance to, in a sense, live again. And in Buchio's case, he was reborn as a Nekomata. And they now have to both deal with their new lives and figure out who it is they want to be and if they want to keep going on the path that they're on right now. And for Yukine, that's either staying as Yatsu's weapon or becoming a more famous god's weapon. And for Buchio, is to see what kind of Nekomata he can become. But regardless, they both have to adjust to their new lives. I also just realized that unintentionally, these characters that I'm comparing Buchio to are all voiced by the same Japanese voice actor. And that wasn't even intentional. So it's really funny that it turned out like this. Although ironically, that is the one thing that I kind of had an issue with. Since as soon as I heard his voice, I heard a few of the characters that he's done before. So for me personally, right now, him being the voice for Buchio has to grow on me a bit. Cause right now I'm like, oh okay, this guy again. But he does a really good job of voice acting that I'm sure I'll get used to the fact that he's voicing his character now, and it won't matter anymore. Although I will say that I kind of wished that they had chosen maybe either a lesser known or maybe even an up-and-coming voice actor. Somebody who we haven't heard much of before and who can really get a chance to shine in this anime. Although maybe the reasoning for choosing a better-known voice actor for this role instead of a lesser-known one could be because maybe they know that this anime series won't be as widely seen as all the others. And maybe that's why they prefer to choose somebody who's more well-known, since regardless, he has other projects he's going to work on. And if this is somebody's first ever voice role, and not a lot of people are going to watch it, they're not going to get paid much. So they might give it to somebody who won't be as affected by the possibility of having a smaller paycheck. Reminds me of Nyanko Sensei as well, because he can talk. And that dog creature reminds me sort of two things. It reminds me of the monstrous chimera from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and the yokai from Hunter Girl. I'm very interested in knowing the dynamic between more than just these main characters, since we see that they have a sort of sibling relationship between Mu and Jiro. It seems either an older sibling or maybe even paternal role in their relationship. The fox Ayashi seemingly prefers to stay appearing to be human for whatever reason, and basing it off the picture I can see right now, it looks like she lives with a family as well. This question did come to my mind while I was watching this first episode is, since they're just so used to having these Ayashi around, is there such a thing as interspecies marriage? Since I know a lot of these are considered to be ghosts, but would that also be a thing where you could marry a certain yokai? Since I know it's also a thing in Japanese mythology, where it's called, I believe, the Fox's Bride, and a few other instances. I also believe Yuki Onna as well. There's been stories of people marrying a Yuki Onna in mythological stories. So I'm wondering if they're gonna go that route as well in this series. Also, another series that came to mind when I'm watching this one is Inuyasha, since Kagome is in a world where it's pretty much normal. Actually, the standard, seeing a bunch of yokai around. Overall, I can't wait to see what else the series has in store and how much darker it's gonna get, and also different dynamics, because we're gonna branch out from the main three, where apparently, I'm just basing it off the trailer, the opening song, and the poster, where we're gonna see the relationship that the fox yokai has with her family, a girl, and her relationship with a friend at school who appears to be human, or I don't know if maybe either one of them could not be human, or they're both humans. An older man who lives with a yokai that has a car for a head. That's something. And then the Otengu man who knows the dog creature that belongs to another human. So I'm interested to see the history if we're gonna find out exactly how old a lot of these characters are, how exactly these characters deal with death, since, like I said before, it looks like for the most part, a lot of the times, though death is a thing, there are some spirits that can come back to life, or at the very least come back and cross over to this world and interact with their loved ones, like the grandfather can. And I really can't see what else this anime has in store.